It was Governor Brown's proposal that was then approved by the legislature in Sacramento.
Okay. Mr. Irving, please.
Thank you again for your time, commissioners. During the break, we sat and tried to consider your concerns, and what we would propose is an approval with the condition that we obtain an additional 11 parking spaces, and we will attempt to find between 11 and 20, even if but we would ask for the approval of 11.
Okay.
And we would also suggest that we will take the, kind of a tile playground lot off of pad J, so we don't have the safety concerns there.
Okay. Cameras?
We're a little bit, it's something we're willing to consider. I'm concerned about it specifically being an approval. For liability reasons, the city didn't want to have cameras on its park, and so we're concerned about for us to install cameras and effectively looking at the park and the same liability issues. So we're certainly willing to consider that, and it may be an amenity that people in the apartments want, but at this point, it's difficult to accept the condition along those lines.
Okay, then I will put that up to the rest of the commissioners, and we'll see how we can approve this by adding a few conditions.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Commissioner Garrettson, please.
Just a clarification, sir, you indicated that you'd move the playground from that area. Does that mean you'd put the playground on the other side of the bridge?
Well, so we don't have a specific target market yet for these apartments, and to some extent the target marketing plan will dictate, for example, whether we take a bocce ball court out and put a playground in, or take them both out and put a fire pit in, and I think that'll depend upon the specific marketing plan that is derived. But we certainly understand the concerns about distance and safety with a top lot across the street, so we will commit not to do that, and I think certainly a possibility is.
But you're committing not to do something. You're
Well,
not committing
sir.
to do something.
Well, the question is whether there's a question here that says, should this apartment complex have, for example, a children's playground for young children as opposed to bocce ball courts for 35 residents who are 22? And so I would prefer not to make the commitment that since we don't have a specific marketing plan, I think it's unwise to make the commitment. If you all think that we, regardless of who the residents end up being, that we should have a child's playground there, I think it's premature, but I wouldn't kick and scream over that issue.
It would seem to me it'd be pretty easy to move the bocce ball court across the creek and move the playground.
And the question, and so again, the question for me is is a child playground a good use for the residents in this apartment complex? And it's not clear to me the answer is yes, but if that's a condition that you all want to impose, then I'm sure I'll understand that it is a good use.
What about a lifeguard?
Commissioner Rossler?
When will your marketing plan be done?
So usually, I'll give you the answer, and then my friend can tell me whether I'm correct. Go ahead.
There is already a draft report. It'll be finalized in the next 30 days.
Okay, so if we did a condition of approval that said that you have to have a recreation plan, and you finish up your marketing plan, and then you prepare a recreation plan, and you take it into John and Patsy and say, here's where we think our market is, and here's the recreational amenities to address that market. You're okay with that?
I think we would be, yes, we would be fine with that. I do want to just mention one other thing relative to the comment about cameras, and that is, on two of our other projects where there have been issues with vagrancy and other issues, distasteful issues around, you know, the area prior to our redevelopment of that area. Even without cameras, just the presence of people living in those units, eyes on the park, have made a dramatic improvement in the overall environment. So, you know, I believe it's going to be a very positive thing and encourage more use of the park because there won't be undesirable elements in there.
Will they bring a manager on site?
Yes, that's a requirement. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Any other comments?
what about a
Or Commissioner
lifeguard
Rossler, do you
for the creek?
organize our
A
thoughts?
lifeguard for the creek.
I'll give it a try. I'm going to move that we recommend that we approve the project. This is a site development plan for 41 apartment units on Vista Village Drive. P 1600-0088, with the following conditions: that subsequent to the preparation of the marketing plan, that a recreation plan be submitted to staff for their approval, and that recreation plan address people that are going to live here. That there, in the parking management plan, there'd be a requirement for an additional 11 to 20 spaces, and that management plan prohibit the charging of parking fees for parking. I think public enforcement of the vehicle code is something that this entire area will benefit from. There's a specific process in the vehicle code to go through that. It involves adoption of the resolution, but I think the requirement for public enforcement of the vehicle code would be a benefit. So I'd like to add that as a condition.
I believe that would require a city council action, and so can that be a recommendation?
Yes. Okay. All right. Then we recommend that there be public enforcement of the vehicle code. It is a resolution that the council does have to adopt. That there be a management plan for the project that includes security cameras on the project. The management plan will include requirements for background checks of all the potential tenants, that there be an on-site manager, and that the plan will also include an eviction procedures for people who aren't good citizens. So I would move that, make that motion to approve.
Commissioner Rossler, are you willing to add some more mature trees, like 48-inch box trees along the Fraser Farms, that portion of the site to soften the height?
Certainly. Oh, that reminds me. If you look at page 53 of 64 in the staff report, it's the north elevation of the recreation building. That elevation is going to be visible from across the creek. And so the north elevation facing the creek, I want enhanced with stone and wood, additional architectural features to be approved by staff. Okay?
Commissioner Garrettson?
I second that motion.
Commissioner Looney?
I have a question for Rex. Third issue on cameras.
Oh,
I don't have any issue with cameras on a given property, but I think when private cameras are used on public property, I think that goes beyond. I just don't think that's good sense.
I understand, and I understand the liability concern both of the staff and the applicant for having cameras on looking at the park. So, but I think security would be enhanced for the project if they had security cameras on site looking at the property. That's my thought.
Excuse me, Commissioner Carroll, please.
Looking at the apartments or looking at the park?
The apartments,
Just internal security?
for security.
Any other comments?
Did we get a second?
Yes, we did. We got a second by Commissioner Garrettson. Let the record show that the motion passes with Commissioner Jackal voting against.